What's good, YouTube? Today we're back with another video and we're going to be giving you guys the story on how I went from broke at 14, 15 to making 5 figures from reselling at 16. Now, a lot of you guys may need to actually hear this story to figure out where I came from. A lot of you might need to hear this, give you guys some inspiration and just some insight into how I got here. So we're literally going to be explaining that. Let's get into it as quick as possible. So we're going to give you guys the insight on how I actually got started, how I became that person with the mindset of wanting to start an actual business. Now, from very young, from I'd say the ages of 5, my mum really instilled a mindset into me not to work for anyone, not to be let's say part of the matrix, to start my own thing, to start my own business and to own what I make money from. So I'm not working on someone else's clock. Now, my mum's a very business-minded person, so I'm very happy she gave me these properties from young. So I've always had that mindset. I've never been a person who's wanted to work a job. I've never said I want to grow up and work in this job and that. It's always been I want to be a businessman. So that's just the true story of it. That's how I really gained the mindset she always gave me. She installed this into me from young. So that's how I got there. And my dad, he gave me the qualities of being a man, not to be lazy, to get work done and to just make sure you're on everything that you're doing. So that's how I gained the mindset basically from the start, which then forwarded into me later in year 7, like selling sweets and things of that nature. What I actually used to do in year 7, when TikTok was not first coming out, but when TikTok was a big trend and you used to see all them guys in the woolly balaclavas, I'll put a picture up on the screen. I used to actually order those on Amazon and sell them each for like £10, make like £40 off that just from like 10 quid. So I'm on my big phone, ready to get it. I've really been just on flipping from young, and I had I wanted to be a reseller. Now, I didn't transition into being a reseller for a long time, but it's always been in the back of my mind, like that's a good, easy way you can make money. Now, a lot of you guys have been in the situation where you guys would be on YouTube, all of that, checking for how to make money, and that's what I was doing from really young, from like year 7, year 8, year 9. So it's really just the same process as everyone else who's looking to become an entrepreneur. I'm looking to starting a business and making money. I just happen to be put in the good situation to do that from really young. So that's how I started so early. So yeah, that's I was selling sweets also. I know it's typical. I did that for like probably a week. That wasn't my main thing, but I'd say the most notable thing was me flipping the balaclavas. So how I started actually making money, this is actually a funny story. One time I was chilling with a couple people, I was chilling with a bit of my friends on the block or whatever, and one of these older guys I was wearing a little Hoodrich tracksuit. If you guys know Hoodrich fell off completely, and I was wearing these Jordans, you know, them Jordans that you could get for like hella cheap, and it was just them, like, I don't know, them Jordans that weren't really Jordans, but they were Jordans. So yeah, I was wearing one of those, and the guy must have just said, he just must have started cussing out my outfit, innit? So that's where I took it. I'm like, yeah, I really need to start running it up now. From that point, around that point, just before that same year, around 2023, my dad always told me that yeah, to come and help him with his work or whatever, and to that I could always transition to start doing what he's doing but on my own. And I never really took it in. I'd always be trying to go around the point, trying to do my own thing. But that night I sat down in my bed and I thought, yeah, I need to prove these people wrong. I need to show them. So yeah, I considered that. I must have headed to my dad's house for about 6 weeks, and I started doing the work with him. Eventually, after doing about 2-3 weeks of that, I transitioned into starting doing the same work but on my own. So I was buying and selling products basically, and I was just helping my dad do that. But then I started doing it myself, and that's how I started making my first little piece of change. I wasn't making too much. I was making probably 200, I want to say, every 2 weeks. I'm not even too sure. I have to look into it. I forgot, but I wasn't making too much. But I had an income at an age, so I had never really seen any big money, but I had income, and yeah, that was my first step to starting a business. Now, I was doing this for about 6 months, from around April, May to around September. So I noticed that it started to fall off, and I wasn't making as much because the platform that I was using, I don't know, they started to really try to tamper with my with my funds, they started doing all this weird stuff with what I was selling. So I started to think in my head, let me devise another plan as to how I can make money. This is where I transitioned to a reseller. But a little funny story, before I actually started reselling, I'd gone out with my friends, with two of my friends, to central London, and we actually ran into three girls. We started walking them in a little three-man thing, you know what I mean? And she had asked what I did, because I must have told her I was like two years older than I was, and I told her I was a reseller. And the night after is when I actually became a reseller. So yeah, just watch the rest of the story, man. So I got my little notepad out. I started writing ideas, and I thought maybe if I buy some products of where I was selling and I sell them to some resellers, then they'd buy them. So I took that. I went to a reseller that I'd known. I literally just bought a tech piece off him. If you guys know what it is, I bought a tracksuit off him. It was one of my friend's cousins. So I bought a tracksuit off him, and I hit him. I was like, oh, after I wrote this little plan out, I was like, oh, would you buy these Air Forces off me for this much? And he was like, basically, long story short, he was like, nah, but I can teach you how to do it. I can teach you how I get the Air Forces, and we can start like that. So I said, cool. I saw an investment opportunity. He wanted me to pay him. It was really small amount. It was £30, literally just for him to teach me how to do it. And I said, yeah, I had £30 to invest, and I just started. So I took that, and it was a pretty good opportunity. I didn't do exactly the way he's taught me, but what he taught me was that I can go to this place. It was basically a refund method. If you guys don't know what a refund method is, it's kind of immoral. You go to a platform, you order something, and you just tell them that it didn't come, or it come with defects, and usually the platform will just refund you. So I didn't go straight to doing that. What I did was I just looked at this marketplace and thought, cool, a lot of things are cheaper on here, so I can upsell them to the people if I build a little community or some customers or whatever. So I started off doing that. I got my friend bought a pair of Air Forces off me at first. That was my first sale, and I saw, yeah, this has an opportunity. I made a couple sales, and I thought, yeah, let's go, this is the way. So what I'd run into while doing this, at the same time I was still doing the eBay, but I wasn't taking it as serious. So I had found a guy on the marketplace that was selling all these tech fleeces, and I'd reached out to him and I'd asked, how much would you sell me multiple for? So what I did is I went onto the platform that I was using, which was eBay. I went onto there, I posted the tech fleeces, and I had messaged him, and basically he was going to be my supplier, right? So I was doing a drop shipping thing where I'd post them. If I get a sale, then I'd go to him and I'd order them. But here's what happened. So that night, as soon as I had posted the tech fleeces, I had made 1,000 in the night. I got about 5 sales. I listed them for about 200, and I was thinking, yeah, no way. This is the first time I'd ever seen some big money like that. So after those sales were sorted, usually because I was such a good seller on eBay, I'd be selling for a long time, they'd give you the payouts instantly. So I expected that I was going to get my payouts instantly, and this is where it all went wrong. I got my payouts, it loaded into my account, but as soon as I was going to withdraw the funds so I could go to the supplier and then buy it from him, send it straight to the people, or send it to me and then I ship it out to the people, I clicked the button to withdraw the money, and for some reason it just didn't want to let me withdraw the money. It said, oh, we can't do this, blah blah blah. So long story short, I had made about 5,000 in sales, and I needed that money to go and buy it off the supplier, but for some reason I couldn't get the money from the suppliers. So I thought, cool, I'm kind of stuck. This is a bad situation. I have all these orders. I have £1,000 worth of orders, but I'm not able to. So if you guys can tell from the video, I am in fact the reseller myself. If you guys do want to learn, make sure you hit the link in the description. You can contact me on WhatsApp, and I'm teaching everyone for free. Don't miss out. To withdraw the funds to order them to suppliers. So what I'm gonna do. So this happened overnight. I just rested and I thought I'll sort it out in the morning. So there was no possible way for me to go through with this. So I was telling my dad at this time the situation, and long story short, he said, cool, I'll help you. I'll borrow you the money to order from the supplier and send it to the customers. So that got sorted. I did that. After the tech pieces actually came and I shipped them to the sales, to the buyers, eBay for some reason didn't want to release my funds. So I was in a really sticky situation. My dad had just borrowed me this amount. I'd ordered it. I'd sent them to the buyers, and eBay didn't want to release my funds. So I had a good 6-month dispute with eBay where they didn't release my funds.
So you're not answering the question.
With all due respect,
I already told you that the funds will release within 6 months. And I
It
already
was the
did the
interest I was
proper
asking about.
documentation regarding for your concern. And again, this is Heidi. Thank you for choosing eBay customer service. Have a good one. Bye.
And long story short, they only ended up releasing 600, which was enough to pay my dad back. So the profit that I would have kept, they held it, which is actually a joke. I could have took it through the financial ombudsman, did all of this, but I was not bothered. I was just like, wow. But throughout that whole time, I had basically started reselling. I built a good community. I was reselling the Essentials Fear of God tracksuits. So that's just basically how I transitioned from eBay to reselling. So I did that for quite a while. I was building up a good community, and I took a lot of losses in this time, but I made a lot of wins. And one thing you have to have when going through a journey like that is you have to have a lot of faith in God. And I always had the mindset of I can take a loss, but I'll always bounce back. I literally made a song about it. I just made another stock. I take an L, make it back. Take an L, make it back. Around the time when I first started reselling. So every loss is a lesson, and that's one motto that really took me through the game of the reselling. So I take accountability for everything that I would do, and I learned this from an actual video that my friend, who I met off PlayStation when I was very young, PlayStation, Xbox, he's from Pakistan. He sent me a video. He's really into business as well. And I'd watched that at the beginning of the year, and I'd writ up all the lessons. I'll leave the video in the description. I'll even put it up on the screen. I'd written all of that and put it on my wall. So it was just like, yeah, I've sticking by this. I've learned these. I've stuck by it, and it just carried me throughout my reselling days. The amount of times I'd hit zero on my bank account, and then I'd gone back up and hit zero. But that's literally one thing with reselling. You have a lot of, this is just a little tip, you have a lot of slow weeks and you have a lot of fast weeks. But as soon as the slow period is over, you're bound to end up with a lot of sales after that. So that's just one thing that I can just throw in there for you guys reselling. But I was making a decent amount. I was probably making anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a month when I first started. And yeah, it was looking good from there. I was actually quite, I felt very good about myself. I felt very good about where I'd come from, but it was not completely enough. So now we're gonna tell you guys about from that point of view. No, it was not enough. But I always had these little extra things. I even built a little reselling course at the end of last year. I built websites. I got sales on the websites, disputes as well, because there were a lot of fraudsters coming on my website and ordering, and then the card buyers would actually dispute it. That was like one of those losses. But good news, I didn't actually take any hard hits from it. I didn't lose any money out on that. I don't believe. I actually got a free tracksuit. But yeah, that's how basically how I started reselling from transition to eBay. That's how everything was built. So I just stay consistent with posting, stay consistent with clientele. I've always been pretty good at business and psychology. I know how to like make people want to buy. I've always done good business with the people. I didn't specifically go for money at the beginning, but I did make money. But I went for the good reputation. That's how you should do it when it comes to business in general, not just reselling. But now we're going to transition to where I am right now. So I decided that I need to take a little break from reselling and just reevaluate everything that I've got going on. Just give myself some peace of mind. So talking to some people for a bit and just evaluate what my next steps are going to be. So we're here with this YouTube channel giving you guys some game, which is like I've always wanted to do it in the back of my head, do some things like that. I took one situation with my friend where I'd gone out and it was just like I didn't really want to go out all this drinking and stuff. I wasn't really into it. I wasn't really, you know, what should I do here? What should I do here? What should I do here? What should I But yeah, I'd watched this video. I know I'm a bit all over the place right now. I didn't really plan this specific end too good. But yeah, I took that time to myself to dedicate what I wanted. I kind of took a break from reselling, but not fully. I just came up to social medias for a bit, talking to a lot of people to evaluate where I'm going. Yeah, we started this YouTube channel and reselling's going better than ever. A couple mottos that you've got to have when going through a business journey, you've got to have a lot of faith in God. You've just got to put all your faith in God, because God will provide for you. Everything will go right. Everything will happen. You've got to have faith in yourself as well to be able to do all of this. So my message for you guys is, whatever idea you have, give it your all, and embrace the element of you knowing what you need to do, you getting it done, and just being creative with it. So yeah, that's just how I went from broke to a 5-figure reseller. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. We're gonna have a lot of reselling advice. If you guys haven't seen my last video on reselling, I teach you guys how to actually get started. We're gonna drop a couple more reselling videos like that, giving you guys some advice. I've seen that video done pretty well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. And peace.